Hello there. So I am currently at an emergency. It's about 1 a.m. on Friday. So the customer's in a condo building here and they have lost total power to their home. But we're gonna run inside, see what's going on, and I'll bring you guys along. So let's go check it out. Oh yeah, by the way, check out that little rowboat they got going back there. See that thing? I mean, that's as big as like a football field. It's crazy how big it is. Pretty cool. All right, let's see what we got going on here. This customer called in because they heard a loud explosion in the wall and their power to their whole entire unit went out. I'm checking it with the thermal to see if there's any residual heat to give me a clue of the source of the problem. Probably like an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah, she called you like right after.
Where do you think you heard the boom?
I think it was in the wall right there.
Okay. Look at that. Very interesting. Yeah, it's definitely very hot.
Because I've had the breaker off. So if it's hot, is there a fire in there? You're saying, or is
That's what I was. I don't think there's a fire. I think there was something along those lines.
In the microwave.
Inside the housing of the microwave, it's probably burnt to a crisp in there.
Huh.
Yeah, but it cool. I mean, for it to be almost 100 degrees, an hour and a half after it happened, it was several hundred degrees at the least. The one thing I would have liked to have seen was, yes, I see that you turned them all off, but I would have liked to have seen if the microwave itself had tripped. I hope it tripped. You know, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, the homeowner turned off all the breakers. Even though the apartment had already been de-energized completely from the main breaker, they turned off each individual breaker, so I don't know what tripped and what didn't. You heard me sniffing there. I performed the old smell test, which is just about as effective as any other tool in my kit. It's been more than a few times that I found a problem I couldn't see by smelling and finding the issue. Nothing's burnt or anything. Although in this particular situation, the burnt spot is pretty obvious once I actually locate it. Oh, yeah, we got a little bit of burning in here. Oh, okay. I see what happened. But there might be more damage, like, because it looks like it's shorted there too. I'm gonna pop that breaker and look behind there. The bus bar and breakers look fine. Sometimes though, when the bus bar melts, it'll shoot soot and smoke out the side and give you an indication that burning happened somewhere it actually didn't. I'm just trying to confirm that I found the extent of the problem and there's no other hidden issues that are going to become pretty apparent once you turn on the main breaker and sparks start flying. If you look right, so right there, right, the screw head, shorted on that, number 12. At this point, I've removed the 20 amp breaker so I can pull the conductor out, take a closer look, and then safe it off. You really can't overexpress the importance of being thorough at this point, because even though you spot something that's super apparently the issue, there always could be something else that was either a secondary problem or the primary issue that's a little more difficult to locate and very important to find and fix. Even though that's not the case in this situation, you always want to watch for that. And what I'm doing right here is exposing the entire conductor. I'm going to make sure it's on top so that it's very easy to spot once we come back to do the full repair. This angle articulates the issue a little more accurately. You can see the burnt screw head there and then the burnt conductor there. So the way I'm going to save this issue off for tonight is cap off the wire, reinstall the breaker, and then set the wire nut right into the kind of the screw area of the breaker, so it's very easy for whatever crew comes back to see exactly where it was in the panel and which wire's damaged, as well as labeling it so that there's really no guesswork involved. One other important step you see me doing here is because I was moving a lot of the wiring around, the main feeders got relocated a little, and they were in bad spot to begin with, if I'm being honest. But you want to make sure that the panel cover screws are not going to have any chance of hitting the main feed conductors coming in or any other wire. But the main feeders are a little more stiff, so they might allow the screw to pierce the sheathing. One thing I want to do before we re-energize this circuit is just go through it thoroughly, because they've had multiple issues with microwaves in this condo. They've had to replace them. The place is not old at all. It's only a few years old. So we just need to go through it and make sure it's good. And that's why I'm safing it off until we can come back. I mean, it's a little strange that the conductor got hot enough to where it melted the sheathing so it could short out on that screw. My first thought was it was a loose neutral right there, and that's what melted through, but it wasn't. But we'll get to the bottom of it one way or the other, whether we run a whole new circuit or we find a obvious issue that we correct. So now that it's safed off, it's time to re-energize. Luckily, I was able to get to the meter room pretty easily on this one. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to find someone with a key at this time of night. One other thing I wanted to point out, I didn't even try to reset the main breaker until I found the issue and safed it off and was pretty confident that there was no other problems, because you can at the very least damage the panel or make it so the main breaker won't reset at all. And those issues are like the best case scenario. It could be a lot worse than that. So always make sure you go through things before you just start flicking breakers back on. And now that everything's been on for a few minutes, I go through it with a thermal camera, make sure nothing heats up, and I do this for at least 20 minutes just to be 100% certain that there's no issues, nothing's going to heat up and cause a problem. And everything stayed nice and cool, just like I knew it would. There'll definitely be a second part to this, just to show you the repair and if we do find any other issues that created this problem to begin with. All right, so just wrapping it up over here. Been here a little over an hour, but as you guys saw, that red number 12 conductor shorted out on the neutral bar there. We'll be coming back to kind of see what's going on with that circuit, because I guess multiple microwaves have burnt up. So we're going to come back and potentially rerun it depending on what the situation is. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what goes on. I mean, it could just be there could be like a loose connection in the outlet side. So we'll check it out, see what's going on there. Potentially may have to rerun the whole circuit, but whatever it is, we're going to make sure we get it and make sure it's safe. It's been disconnected at this point, so they'll be safe till we come back. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.